My parents were killed in an accident several years ago, and since then, the only grandparents my siblings and I still have are my mom's parents. It's just me, my sister, and my brother were their only grandchildren. This story is long and complicated, but I'll try to lay it out as clearly as I can. My grandparents are pushing 90 now, and lately both of them have started showing the signs of Alzheimer's. After our parents died, my brother really stepped in and took on the role of helping them out. For years he's been the one bringing meals over, shoveling their walkway in the winter, mowing the grass, and driving them to appointments. Honestly, I used to think it was silly. My grandparents had always been strong, independent people, healthy, active, able to take care of themselves. I thought they didn't need all that help. Earlier this year, though, both of them were officially diagnosed with Alzheimer's. That's when my brother was given medical and durable power of attorney, since apparently that's how the trust had been set up from the start. Not long after the diagnosis, he moved them into an assisted living facility. My sister started digging into things at that point, and she became very concerned. She explained to me that with the way the trust was written, my brother now had control over all their properties, their bank accounts, their stocks, basically everything. She said that our grandparents were now powerless, and that he was calling all the shots. I started feeling upset myself, especially when he rented out one of their houses. So my sister and I decided to challenge it. She found a lawyer who actually came out to the assisted living home to meet with our grandparents. We explained to him that our brother had manipulated them into signing everything over and was taking advantage of the situation. But a few days later, that lawyer told my sister he wouldn't take the case because there wasn't anything there to fight. She didn't stop, though. She found another lawyer, and now everything is in probate court. Since she understands the legal side of things more than I do, she's been leading the charge. This new lawyer filed complaints saying that my brother only got power of attorney because he created a false sense of dependency by helping with food, yard work, and doctor's visits when our grandparents were still capable. The claim is that he positioned himself to take control of their finances. We believe he's mismanaging their money, maybe even stealing from them. He's renting one of their houses at below market value, and by moving them into a home and running their affairs, he's basically isolating them. What we're asking the court to do is remove him as power of attorney and trustee. But here's where things got complicated. The court ordered my brother to provide a full accounting of their finances, and he did. Our lawyer reviewed it last week and said everything was not only correct but actually impressive. My brother had even grown some of the investments to bring more income into the trust. The lawyer also explained a bit about how the trust was set up. Apparently, when our parents died, my grandparents updated it to name my brother as the first in line to handle things if they became incapacitated or passed away. The trust also says that once they die, all the assets will be split evenly between the three of us, but any unpaid loans from them would be deducted from that person's share. There's also something called a no contest clause in there, though the lawyer said he still needed to research what that would mean for us. The bottom line was that the court won't change anything based on the accounting. It was, in the lawyer's words, immaculate. The only way to fight would be to prove mistreatment or isolation. Now, my sister is saying she's convinced my brother faked the accounting and that she's going to find proof. She also wants to challenge the part about deducting loans and push for legal guardianship over our grandparents. That's when I started to feel torn. What if my brother really did falsify things, and she can prove it? But at the same time, I can't shake this feeling that she might make something up and try to pass it off as real evidence. If that happens, and I've been backing her, could I get dragged down with her? I'll admit this too, my sister is incredibly persuasive. She knows how to talk, how to twist things, and it makes me nervous. I had a talk with my sister the other day without mentioning anything about this post. She never gave me any concrete details, no real proof or examples of what she thought our brother was supposedly doing wrong with the finances or how he might be mistreating our grandparents. Still, she spoke with such confidence and conviction that I almost started doubting myself and all the advice I'd read here. I asked her directly what she imagined would happen if our brother were removed from the picture, how she thought we'd handle caring for our grandparents. Her big idea was to move them back into their old house and then hire a cleaning lady off Craigslist to stop by once a week so grandma wouldn't have to worry about chores. That answer didn't sit right with me, and it made me realize how unprepared she actually was to handle their care. After that conversation, I decided to swallow my pride and call my brother. He didn't have much time to talk, he was getting his kids ready for bed, and he wasn't exactly warm toward me, which, honestly, I can't blame him for. Still, he agreed to answer my questions. The first thing I asked was why he put them in such an expensive assisted living place. That's when he told me something that made my stomach drop. Apparently, months ago, Grandma had put a pot on the stove, left the burner on, and then went shopping. When my brother stopped by, he found the pot scorched and smoking while Grandpa sat in the living room watching TV, completely unaware. To make things worse, Grandpa had taken the batteries out of the smoke alarm after another one of Grandma's kitchen mishaps. My brother said the whole house could have burned down, and that was the final straw. He moved them out right after that. Then he dropped another bomb. He said our sister owed our grandparents over $500,000. Hearing that made me feel sick. And it didn't stop there. Grandpa had always kept meticulous financial records. He had signed loan agreements stored neatly in a filing cabinet for everyone who borrowed money. I also owe them some money myself, about $4,000 left on a car loan, but I've been paying it back on schedule every single month. After our grandparents were moved into assisted living, my brother gathered up all the financial documents to get everything organized. But when he looked through my sister's file, all her signed loan agreements were gone. He strongly suspects she took them so there would be no written record of her debt. What she didn't realize is that Grandpa had kept photocopies of every important document, including those loan agreements and a ledger of payments, in a fireproof safe. My brother now has those copies, which clearly show what she owes. I felt absolutely sick when I heard this. I don't know how to process it all. This entire situation feels like a nightmare, and I'm planning to call the lawyer tomorrow to ask how I can get myself completely out of it. Update 1. I need to thank everyone here for the advice, the reality checks, and yes, even the harsh words I got last fall. Some people commented that I sounded young, and they were right. My brother and sister are both quite a bit older than me, and my parents had me later in life. My mom always joked that I was her favorite surprise. And it's true, I'm only just starting college, and I don't have much real-world experience. That doesn't excuse the way I acted, but it does explain how I got pulled into things I didn't fully understand. This past semester I took a humanities class that focused on aging, mostly because of everything going on with my grandparents. I learned so much from it, and I even enjoyed it. I've been thinking about changing my major to go into something that helps protect the elderly, maybe social work. Back in November, I told our lawyer I didn't want any part of the court case anymore. I explained that I was starting to believe my sister wasn't being truthful. He filed the paperwork to show I was withdrawing, and then he dropped her as a client. Without legal representation, she ended up dismissing, if that's the right word, her case. After some serious soul-searching and a few sessions with a counselor at school, I made the decision to cut her off completely. I told her not to contact me anymore and blocked her. Surprisingly, my brother was willing to forgive me. I'm honestly grateful for that because I had been acting like a real fool until I finally asked for outside opinions. He still keeps me updated on what's going on, which is how I know what's happened over these past 5 months. After my sister's case was dismissed, she found yet another lawyer, her third one. She started making new accusations, telling this attorney that my brother was hiding money, letting the rental properties fall apart, failing to insure them, and even letting people live there for free. None of this was true, but she also started feeding these lies to our grandparents, who, confused and vulnerable, believed her for a while. They were furious with my brother and even turned on me. That third lawyer sent a stream of demanding emails to my brother's attorney, asking for proof that everything was in order with the houses, the accounts, and the trust. After months of this, things escalated when my sister herself sent an email, copying her lawyer, where she laid out demands. She wanted to take inventory of all my grandparents' belongings and claim keepsakes for herself. She insisted any tenants be kicked out immediately, and she demanded that every property be put up for sale within 30 days. Her lawyer quickly called my brother's attorney to say he had no part in that email and hadn't been consulted. Shortly after, that lawyer dropped her too. For a little while, things went quiet. But now, just recently, my brother's lawyer forwarded him emails from, believe it or not, my sister's brand new lawyer. That makes 4 of them. The lawyer my sister has now is from one of those firms you see advertising on TV with lines like, "Got a DUI? Charged with a crime? We can help." Honestly, I have no idea why a place like that is even messing with a probate case, but apparently they've decided to take her on. And the kicker? It's the exact same nonsense she was pushing with lawyer number 3. Nothing new. My brother's lawyer has already explained to him exactly what his responsibilities are as trustee, and he's been following everything by the book. He doesn't have to do any of the ridiculous things my sister keeps demanding. Still, this whole ordeal is just wearing him down. He's exhausted by it. At this point, I'm not really looking for legal advice. My brother's lawyer is handling all of that. What I'm hoping for is some perspective from people who have seen situations like this. Why is my sister doing this? She says she wants to be trustee, but my brother's lawyer told us the probate court would never grant her that role since my brother has proven he's managing things properly. So why keep pushing? What's driving her to continue this fight? And is there anything we can do to finally make her stop? According to my brother's lawyer, he's seen people drag things out like this for years. But since she isn't technically breaking the law, there's no real way to force her to back off. That's where I feel stuck. Any advice or suggestions are welcome. Comments and replies. One commenter told me it was good that I finally stood by my brother, and they appreciated my honesty about my earlier mistakes. They suggested that depending on how much of a burden my sister's antics have been financially and emotionally, my brother might be able to sue her for wasting time and money with frivolous legal actions. The problem, of course, is that lawsuits are expensive and time-consuming themselves, and my brother already has his hands full raising his kids and managing our grandparents' care. Someone else asked if I had tried approaching my sister and asking her to stop. I admitted I did try that months ago, and all I got in response was a sarcastic, "Go screw yourself." Another skeptical commenter insisted that yes, as trustee, my brother could sue if he could clearly prove her actions were frivolous and caused losses. The complication is that the lawyer for the trust is paid out of the trust itself, not out of my brother's pocket. So while it doesn't hit him directly financially, it does drain time and resources that should be used for our grandparents. I know the last thing he wants is to see the trust's money wasted even further, but I told the commenter I'd bring it up as an option anyway. Update 2. Almost 5 years have gone by since that last update, and this will be the final one because both of my grandparents have now passed away. My brother recently filed the last tax return for the trust, which officially closed everything out. Here's how it unfolded. Not long after my previous update, Grandpa suffered a stroke. The only reason he survived initially was because it happened at the assisted living facility, which was right by a major hospital. My brother felt it was the right thing to do to call our sister. I didn't think he should bother, but he did. She answered, politely thanked him, and then never showed up. My brother and I took turns sitting with Grandpa in the ICU for days. He managed to hang on for several months and was even able to go back and live with Grandma for a while, but he was never really the same. Pneumonia eventually took him. Losing Grandpa broke Grandma completely. Her Alzheimer's worsened quickly after that, and she had to be moved to a memory care unit. She held on for years, but pneumonia took her too, the summer before the pandemic. Through all of that, my sister never once came to visit them. Not once. She didn't stop her nonsense, though. Lawyer number 4 stuck with her for over 3 years. They got into a routine where her attorney would constantly send emails demanding documents, copies of checks, proof that the rental houses were insured, bank statements from the trust, you name it. And technically, because she was a beneficiary, she was entitled to see some of those records. Every time something went wrong with a property, say a burst pipe or a sewage leak, she would have her lawyer demand multiple quotes for the repairs, even when it was urgent. Anything to drag the process out. And every year when my brother submitted the accounting for the trust, she'd pick it apart line by line. She'd question why Grandma needed $100 worth of clothes from Target or demand clarification on a random medical bill, dragging things out for weeks at a time. Eventually, she figured out she could start filing complaints in probate court, which only made everything worse. Whenever my sister filed a complaint in probate court, the judge would send it to mediation. Every single time, my brother refused to agree to anything in mediation, and then my sister would have her lawyer quietly withdraw the filing. This happened over and over again, and the legal costs piled up to staggering amounts. When Grandma finally passed, the trust's law firm drafted an equitable distribution plan and sent it to my sister's lawyer. It included the large debt she still owed the trust, money she had never once tried to repay and continued to deny existed, even with all the documentation my brother had on hand. My brother even tried to make it easier for her. He offered to knock down the amount she owed if she wanted to take one of the real estate properties she had shown interest in before, so he wouldn't have to deal with selling it. She flat out refused any deal that included her debt. There was some back and forth for a couple of months, then she went silent. And then lawyer number 5 appeared. My brother's attorney assumed, probably correctly, that lawyer number 4 had realized the gravy train of sending nasty emails and filing useless motions was over and decided to stop representing her. So she found someone new, and my brother had to go through the entire circus all over again. This 5th lawyer came in hot, armed only with my sister's version of events. He repeated new exaggerations, claiming my brother had hidden our grandparents from her, that she never knew where they were living, how their health was, or even if they were alive. He really leaned into that angle. But early on, my brother's lawyer had advised him to always send update emails, hospitalizations, ER visits, moves to different care facilities, and my brother had been meticulous about it. So when this new lawyer demanded proof, the trust's attorney handed over all the emails, my brother's updates, followed by my sister's acknowledgement emails to whichever lawyer she was working with at the time. It was apparently satisfying to watch lawyer number 5 suddenly change his tone once confronted with hard evidence. To keep it short, here's how it wrapped up. From late 2019 into early 2020, my sister initially refused the distribution proposal again. So the trust's attorneys just submitted it directly to probate court for approval. Suddenly, she decided to accept it, but only in cash, minus her debts. No property. My brother took the rental property in kind, and he asked if I wanted the vacation house she had once claimed was sentimental to her. I had fond memories there growing up, so I accepted. That way, my brother could still use it too. We all signed the distribution agreements, the court approved it, and that was it. My brother later sold the last remaining property, the townhouse my grandparents had lived in before assisted living, and distributed the cash to the beneficiaries. My sister deposited her check immediately, and then she disappeared. Not a call, not a message, nothing since. After 5 years of constant chaos, the ending was almost anticlimactic. The only thing my sister really managed to accomplish was draining the trust of around $600,000 in legal fees and related costs, money that would have been split equally among the three of us. She cost herself over $200,000 for absolutely nothing. She didn't even end up taking the vacation property she once swore meant so much to her. Once she saw the 2019 appraisal for $90,000, I guess her sentimentality vanished. It was never some fancy resort place anyway, just a small vacation home in a nice area. All things considered, I think we landed in a good place. I was able to pay off my student loans from undergrad and now I've got grad school covered. I even took a year off to work at a non-profit before the pandemic, thanks to the cushion I received. The little vacation house I inherited is worth a lot more now, though I'm not relying on the market staying that high. My brother and I just use it as it was meant to be used, a family getaway. My brother kept the rental property as part of his share, and honestly, after everything he went through, he deserves every penny of rental income it brings in. I tried to help where I could, attending mediations, speaking on behalf of the trust, but he was the one who carried the real weight. Now, my brother and I are close again. We're not just siblings, we're friends. He forgave me for being such an idiot back when this all started, and now I get to enjoy being the fun uncle to his kids. I don't know if any of the same people are still reading here after all this time, but if you are, thank you. Your blunt honesty all those years ago kept me from making a huge mistake, and I'll always be grateful for that.